to Shop Shock. This is a podcast where we talk about overwhelming and rapid forces that are moving in retail almost faster than retailers and consumers can process. So we want to bring something fresh and optimistic to look at what's working and how retailers can help themselves be profitable, because there is, believe it or not, reason to be optimistic out there. So I'm Deanne. I have over 20 years of experience in retail design, operations, and customer experience looking at the retail industry.
And I'm Chuck Palmer. I am a digital product manager. I work on consumer-facing technologies like self-checkout and e-commerce and digital signage and things like that. My background is in retail design as well and consumer behavior. Between the two of us, I think we've got a really interesting yin and yang point of view.
Yeah. Are you yin or yang?
I don't know which one's which. I never knew what yin or what yang was.
Well, I wanted to kick this off with a discussion that is something I've been thinking about a lot. Perplexity has put a bid on Google Chrome. There's an antitrust suit out there, kind of an exploration of antitrust against Google, trying to assess whether it should be broken up. Google's argument is we can't be broken up because there is really no market for our parts and pieces. So Perplexity has come in and placed a bid down of $34.5 billion to buy Chrome. And that's kind of taken the wind out of that argument.
Yeah.
It's obviously not going to happen anytime soon, but I'm finding it really interesting because Perplexity just in July launched their own AI browser. It's called Comet. It's an Agentic based browser. And what that does is, instead of having to type in a query as one does in browsing and scanning the results, and you click on whatever you want and you kind of do your own research, in Comet, you type in the outcome that you want. And Comet will do all of the search and query and scanning and come out with the end results. And a good example of that is I'm looking for lightweight running shoes. I have flat feet. I want to pay less than $120. I want them in my size. I need them to have a quality, something equivalent to Adidas or Brooks, and they need to be delivered in a couple of days or less. Comet's going to go in and do all the searching. They're going to spit out a curated list of 2 or 3 choices for me. And they might even weight those choices for me. Like option A has the highest customer sat rating. Option B is on sale, but it arrives faster. Which one do you want? Once I choose, Comet's going to buy it for me, fill in the payment, apply a promo code if there is one out there, and confirm delivery for me. So I basically have done nothing except tell Comet what I wanted. And now think about the power that Perplexity would have if they buy Google Chrome, because Google Chrome has 68% of the search market today. So frogging over any other search and browser market. It's a game changer.
That is big. And why isn't Google buying Perplexity?
Good question. Very good.
And I know there's stuff about Google and how like they're not really innovative anymore and all that. But from a consumer perspective, this is intriguing. The way you put it about it, like the end result, what you're searching for the end result is akin to what you do when you walk into a store, right? If you walk into Dick's Sporting or House of Sports, whatever they're calling it now, and you say the same things, a good salesperson is going to do all those things and understand that value or convenience or fit or whatever are going to be important to you. That's not hard to think about. So it's easy to think that AI could handle that, right? What's hard about that at retail is doing it well.
Yeah.
And that's the part where I'm like, if you're in a procurement mode, sure, just like Google Shopping, there's a whole bunch of stuff you do, some of those steps. Is what they're proposing that much of an improvement of that? I don't know. Consumers will adopt it or not. What I think AI at a next level beyond the procurement part of it, what AI can do is consider soft things like your color preferences and remember them. and I would assume that if Comet works the way AI does, it's learning at a massive, large language level, but also at your level.
Yeah.
And so can it remember all the stuff about me and take those things into consideration, so those choices that are presented are even more likely to be sold?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the magic, like, blue sky proposal. I'm sure somebody has written a much more eloquent version of that in their prospectus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to be done in 6 months. But even that AI, the speed at which these things are changing, I don't know. Maybe in 6 months everything will be different.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting about this, is it's really challenging things that we find tried and true.
Yeah.
Sort of like the fallback on, well, ultimately it's a human at the and I'm like, I don't know. Some of the stuff I've done with AI is better than some of the humans I've been talking to. So it really could be like foundationally changing things like math, like retail. But I think if there's, if you think about what won't change, those moments of truth,
Mm-hmm.
I've referred to before, when you decide to buy and when you start using it, when you open the box, or when you whatever that is for the item, I think those things aren't changeable. That's the human behavior name part of it that I don't know. I'm struggling to find the things that won't change.
Well, I think ahead to the possibilities, and I think in some respects, this is going to take a lot of the power out of the hands of the retailer, because right now the retail industry is a little bit upside down. The retailers are driving the bus, not the consumers, and the consumers, it should be more in the hands of the consumers. For example, retailers are the ones who came up with the idea for 2-day shipping. They're the ones who came up with the idea for free shipping. Consumers didn't ask for that. They love it. Sure,
Right.
I'll take free shipping. Thank you. But it's costing retailers a fortune, and it's driving some retailers to take on debt that's ultimately making them bankrupt or causing them to go under. And it's undermining the fundamentals of good retail and a good retail experience, because retailers are doing these things that consumers never asked for.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we go down this road, there is a potential, if a consumer takes responsibility for training their AI agent well, that they could connect their AI agent to TikTok or social media. And when they like something on social media, they could instruct their AI agent saying, "Oh, I love those shoes she's wearing. Keep an eye out. If you see them go on sale for me and they're affordable for me, you know my budget, you see my bank account. If you think I can afford those, let me know where you find them and when they come up." And so your agent's always going to be on the lookout. And one day you're going to get a text pop up and say, "Hey, I just found them on sale," or "I found them on eBay or on Poshmark, secondhand, but they're in really good shape. Do you want me to buy them?" So suddenly the consumer is driving the bus a little more and deciding what they can spend. They're ceding control over to AI a little more than perhaps some people are comfortable with today.
Mm-hmm.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think we don't have the answer to that. And if you ask younger generations, they probably not care so much.
Yeah, I imagine the like blue sky scenario is having that companion that knows you well enough. It's sort of like your own personal salesperson or like stylist or whatever. I mean, Beyonce has teams of people to do this for her, and do we get to that point where your shopping companion or your AI companion knows you well enough to ask the right questions? So we're like, right now we're in a, like, you have to understand prompts and the structure of prompts and have critical thinking to think about like, what it might anticipate, what it may or may not get right. Make sure that you ask me the 10 qualifying questions, that kind of stuff. But the more those things learn, the more they get to know us as individuals. And again, this is like privacy and data aside, because there's huge issues there, right? Because we may or may not own what we make, and which we don't probably. And so that is, I'm always concerned about us fueling and then lining the pockets of others.
Yes.
But if that said, you have this reliable thing that knows you contextually and is essentially like a thoughtful friend, who knows that when they see something, that'd be like a great gift. That moment where you see something and you're like, that would be a great gift for Aunt Julie.
Yeah.
It would be perfect, and that's anticipatory. There's a lot of consideration in that AI seems to be able to do or will be able to do.
Yeah.
And that's intriguing, but maybe also sad, because like if people rely on that, the AIs to do that, they'll miss out on the joy of finding that really great thing for Aunt Julie and giving it to her. They get to give it to her. So maybe that's the heavy lifting, is the procurement of the right thing. And then the magic is, what is a right thing? I don't know. Again, it feels like we're on another precipice of like sea change. And I don't like it, and it should stop.
It's very uncomfortable. I mean, when's the last time you memorized a phone number? I mean, without my cell phone, I couldn't call anybody anymore, but I used to be able to remember. I can't even remember my home number. Last time somebody asked me for my husband's cell phone number, I had to think about it for a minute, because I usually open my phone and hit a button.
Yeah. We had a situation where, it was a storage unit, and their protocol was using something and the last 4 digits of your phone number. And it was my partner's phone number. And I found myself standing in front of this keypad going, like, I should know this, or should I? I don't know. Anyway, it's 5448. So that I know. I can't remember the other 6 digits, but
but we've been here at this point before, is my point. And so it's going to be uncomfortable again. Is this good? Is this bad? Or is it just change? Kind of like today, I opened up LinkedIn and I see all these things going around about, oh my God, Cracker Barrel has changed their logo. The barrel guy is gone. This is awful. And,
logo changes.
I mean, is it really awful?
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but
it's kind of time. I'm sorry, but barrel guy needs to go.
Was he like wearing the barrel?
No, he's sitting by a barrel. In old timey days, they had a barrel, and I guess they played checkers on it or something. And
Sam Drucker's store, and
yes, that's right. Yes, and they don't do that anymore because they have cell phones to do that on now. And
you can play checkers by yourself in your car. Why wouldn't you on a barrel?
Or you put a headset on and play it on Steam with a friend.
Yeah.
But my point is, most people who eat at Cracker Barrel today, that is not their experience or their memory anymore. And unless they bring grandma or grandpa, barrel guy has no relevance to them. So it's time for change. Change is not bad. It's just change. So we're going to have a lot more change before the next half century is over, and before the next decade is over.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to suck it up and get used to being scared, I think.
Yeah. You know what? If there's anything that we learned during the pandemic, is there is no normal. We shouldn't try to achieve it. I was recently reviewing some of the like thought pieces that I did during the pandemic, and I think they're ringing true that retail was over as we knew it at one point. And it's, with all this technology, with all these changes, it's going to be different. And we have to be nimble, and we have to be thoughtful about how we shape that for customers and communities and staff and that sort of thing. We're living in that post-pandemic state that I think that we're still feeling the effects of that, even though we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
We still celebrate Pearl Harbor Day.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Or celebrate.
Celebrate is
We
not the right word.
acknowledge.
Yeah.
It still pops up a little bit here and there, everywhere.
Yes.
But we lost over 100,000 people.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, and that has long-term effects across our entire psyches.
In 9/11, and that happened 2000. Yeah. A long time ago.
We've been through a lot. Like I said, I don't think there's a normal anymore, so we have to be ready for whatever's coming down the pike. And I think AI is a big domain, and there's lots of things that it can do. And if it's going to automate some of these things for us, great. I'm pretty sure if you ask the average consumer, like, what would you like automated? They might not be able to answer that. So there's going to have to be examples and demonstrations and, friends that are doing it and who are, getting, I don't know, a better deal on their summer cottage because they use AI or something. That's even pedantic.
Yeah, they're not going to know. They're not going to ask for automation. They're going to ask for a faster checkout experience. They're going to ask for shelves that are fully stocked all the time. They're going to ask for better wayfinding. They don't care how they get that. They want the end result.
Yeah, which I don't think has changed, and that is the stuff I need as quickly as possible, as cheaply as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's reductive, but that's at the core of it. Even luxury levels, once you decide you want that Hermes scarf, you want it. Yeah. You go for it. You find it, and it's perplexing to which is probably why those people called their company Perplexity. I mean, good for them.
With Perplexity's Agentic browsing, it's obviously a superior experience for browsing, and so it's going to quickly become the norm. Who's going to want to type in queries and then scan down rows and rows of sites and do your own searching? Nobody's going to want to do that the minute you have a better opportunity. Yeah. But then that's going to change the whole SEO banner ad industry. How are brands going to advertise and get the money? The money is going to go into Perplexity instead of into the brands or retailers, into the retailers' websites or the retailers' apps from the brands. So that's going to change the revenue stream to retailers, which has been an important revenue stream for retailers.
Yeah, and retailers have figured out the right use of the word media. They're selling, which is, as a merchant, I did this all the time with my vendors. I would, negotiate shelf space and where it goes and whatever, and that's become retail media. And I think that this completely threatens that.
Oh, it's going to be one of the biggest and fastest transfers of wealth from search companies to AI browsing companies, to AI companies. So it's going to move, the wealth is going to move from Google to Perplexity in a heartbeat, because all of the data to personalize customer experiences is going to go away and be transferred over to the agents. And the retailer is going to have to buy it from Perplexity to understand how to personalize their customer experience, because customers are not going to go on websites or in apps nearly as often, and some of them maybe never. So the retailer is going to be blind to a customer's behavior unless they purchase that data from Perplexity.
Okay, so let's extrapolate that for a second. So that future state you just described is like a Perplexity on its own and to its nth degree. What does Walmart or Amazon do in a situation like that? They're going to try to build their own. They're going to try to. It's going to be a space race to the trusted.
They already are.
Agent.
They already
are. Sure. I'm sure they are. Yeah.
They have 4 AI agents they've already released. One's consumer facing, and it's named Sparky, which is a cute name.
Who's that? Is that Amazon or?
That's Walmart.
Walmart.
They have another one that Walmart is released that sell their platform sellers, and that one is Marty. And then they have one for employees, their associates, and it's called Associate, and one for their developers, it's called Developer. So their in-house team get crappy names, and their customer and sellers get better names.
Yeah, I guess it's believe me, that reminds me of the fact that when I was a department manager at Macy's, my desk, my office was a shelf in the back room that I had to share with microwaves and blenders. So, yeah.
But that, to your point exactly, Walmart is already gearing up to not necessarily compete with Perplexity, but hold their own and at least keep their platform intact. And it's going to be a different animal, a different experience than Perplexity. They're not going to go head to head in replicating the experience. So I think they're both using their heads to try to
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure that's good.
Individualize their offerings.
Yeah.
But companies like Target, like Nordstrom, Best Buy just started up their own platforms. Those are going to be jeopardized because that's going to be leveled out and may not even have relevance by the time browsing platforms like Perplexity and others take hold.
Yeah, Best Buy used to be like, remember there was a time when Best Buy was positioning itself as like almost like a leisure activity. Remember that? Like, there was these commercials where people were just like, it's lunch. Hey, you want to go to Best Buy at lunchtime? And they go and like browse CDs and play game.
That's when they sold small things like albums and CDs. I'm dating myself with albums, but albums are back. Hey,
yeah, absolutely. Vinyl's never really gone away.
Yeah, small things you could afford. You could go at lunch and buy a CD, but nowadays you can't really go at lunch and buy a stereo.
You know what? Actually, music is an interesting, in that it got disrupted by iTunes, right? And it's still, and then we had the advent of Spotify, which is a different model, but
we went from albums to CDs to streaming. That now we're heading back to albums, right?
Well, I mean, for some people that like the experience of putting an album on, listening to a side, flipping it over, listening to a side. I've had good friends tell me that, and I do that too. I have a turntable here in my office. I keep vinyl here. I listen to it every once in a while when I'm in particular mindsets. But if you think about how productized analog products that music used to be, and now it's like this almost ubiquitous flow. It's like at some level, things like Spotify are like utilities. In that, even though I'm paying for it, and I guess I pay for my gas and electric too, but music got disrupted. Then came the browser. Google disrupted what was happening at the time, where it was going. It's not like there weren't browsers before Google, right? There were, and there were search engines, and which is how Google's been real. And
well, I don't know if you've noticed, search results suck nowadays. The quality of a search result has gone down exponentially since AI has come out.
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, used to be when you search for something, you would get fairly substantial results coming up, and you wouldn't have to scroll very far before you found some meaty results that were really highly relevant to what you typed into the query. Nowadays, the results that come up, you have to really look hard to find something that is relevant to your query, and they're poor results. And I have far better results when I go into AI now. And
well, what do you think about on Google now, when you search, there's a like AI summary, an AI overview, they call it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, very often, if I'm querying something, that's all I need.
A lot of people don't go past that now, which is a problem for websites now. People are not visiting websites. Websites are becoming irrelevant because people don't go past that bar. And in Google, there's a tab You can go to their AI search engine from that tab within Google Chrome.
Yeah, you can
Just
like
like
toggle back and
they have an
forth.
images tab, they have a shopping tab, now they have an AI tab.
Okay, and that's how people will start to adopt
Mhm.
and learn
Yeah.
how these things work.
But Google is behind, well behind Perplexity, which is a shame. Possibly they're hanging back because of this risk of antitrust. Why put the money into something that you might lose? I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Isn't that interesting that Google is the one that's the like stale behemoth in this context?
Yeah.
I mean, it really wasn't that long ago that Google, in my mind, was like a hero in the precepts that we hold dear in American business.
Yeah.
It was innovative and it was ahead of the market. It created exciting, interesting things that were relevant to people's lives, and all of a sudden you could X. That's what AI is proposing now, and is this an example of the flip side of that coin, that American business gets so big that it can't innovate its way out of a crappy
Right.
corner? Seriously, why isn't Google buying Perplexity?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know,
They probably
um,
don't have the cash.
yeah,
But going back to the ads, the SEO and banner ads becoming ineffective online now because everything's going to have to be optimized specifically for AI. This gives an opportunity for the larger retailers who have a store presence. So this could be an opportunity for Target to turn themselves around. Walmart already has an advantage because they have such a massive presence. But if you have a large number of retail physical stores across the country, put digital screens in your stores and bring the ads into your stores, because even today 80% of customers are still shopping in stores, in physical
mhm.
stores. Bring ads where the eyeballs are. And yes, they're looking at AI, but they still want that physical experience. They still want to be in the stores. Amplify your experiential flow and customer journey element to make sure that part of the AI experience flows through your physical store. And then you can sell an ad to play on a digital screen in your store. And then at least you're restoring some of that media revenue. And
Yeah, if there's anything, and we've talked off camera about how AI is going to affect store design, and we're going to dedicate a whole other episode about that. But if you remember, right before the pandemic, the way where retail was how do we make our stores relevant?
yeah,
And that's where we started talking about buy online, pick up in store, or as the British call it, click and collect, which is so much better. But that's also where like Target was working on their curbside delivery, like drive up and have the stuff brought out to you. And of course, the pandemic accelerated all that. But what was also happening was malls were dying and strip malls were dying and people were closing stores. And the, I think that the pandemic gave a lot of retailers cover to either give up and get out, or fix things or
mhm,
sell off things. And they could point to the pandemic and, you know, the math worked, right? For whether it's insurance or whatever they had that makes closing stores a positive thing on the spreadsheet. Um, so we were heading in this direction then, and then with this sort of like everybody's isolated, and then there's this amped up desire. If you remember when things started to get back to non-pandemic uh,
yeah,
atmospheres, things like cruises and travel like spiked, right? People wanted to get back on the road and whatever. But we haven't gone back. We're not going back. There's these things change trajectories, if you will. And it's interesting because AI itself could anticipate trajectories. Like I could ask my AI, to project and to anticipate and extrapolate. If it's coded right, if it is written right, if the prompt is right, I guess, then when I type in or talk and say, I need new running shoes, first of all, my agent should respond with why you don't run. I mean, hopefully one day it will have a personality enough that I'd want to interact with it and call me out on things like that. But it should know what that means to me. If I say running shoes and knowing like that I'm not a runner, so it should know that I need running shoes. The way AI, if you understand, I'm not purporting that I understand how AI works. I've played with it and I'm working with it and I'm looking at how to apply it to things. What I understand so far, it is like the ultimate disruptor. It's hard for me to imagine and extrapolate what the retail landscape is going to look like in 5 years.
Well, I think it's going to be what the automobile did, which was create the need for roads and cities to be redesigned around a road system, which was a major disruptor. The internet, which allowed the complete reinvention of retail as we know it around, opened up the possibility of e-commerce, changed how businesses run, how information is conveyed, is stored, education, all of communication.
Introduced the concept of
Right.
of digital transformation.
Right. And this is going to change how society operates, how we think, how we feel, how we interact as a society. I think that it could be good, it could be bad. There's going to be both elements of both. There's studies already showing that in public places we dwell up as much as 20% less. We don't interact as much with strangers. Housing designs don't have front porches for the most part, so our interaction with our neighbors are significantly less. In my neighborhood alone, everybody comes home, pulls into their garage, shuts the door. Their yard people do their yard work. So if I didn't throw a Halloween party every year, I would never know my neighbors.
Right. Yeah.
And AI is only going to exacerbate that. You're going to interact with your agent more than your humans. And your agent is very pliable and trained to your preferences. So humans are going to be a disappointment after that.
Yeah.
At the same time, there is this innate human need for discovery.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. You just said humans are going to be a disappointment after that.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that right there is funny and true right now. But man, the way, if that manifests widely, it's like, what is that? Is that Wall-E? Is it like Her, the movie, you know, like where everybody's just sort of beige and disaffected?
Yeah, well, we are.
I'm sorry, I'm half Italian. I will not stand for that.
I know. I don't want to project, but there is, there's a couple of ways we can go. And I think that we're going to see society evolve into a couple of different directions. And one direction will be introverts will become even more introverted. It'll be easy to be introverted because you won't need to interact with other people. And extroverts will become more frantic about being extroverted. They will be seeking out ways to interact with each other in real life much more frequently.
Oh God, does that mean more improv?
Maybe you could take improv in retail stores, but then that means, but I think this bodes well because online shopping will become easier in some respects, but there is always going to be that desire for the physical experience. And so the fundamentals of retail are going to have to get better. The retailers who have the fundamentals down pat, who do a really good job of well-trained employees, great customer experience, nice experiential stores, shelves stocked, everything is great. You love spending time in their stores. And they use technology well to keep those stores operating. Employees have access to their own AI agents to interact with customers on online AI agents, that supply chains are informed by AI, that AI informs planograms and then rearranges the planograms periodically, that AI controls the lighting and the music in the stores and keeps everything localized and personalized to the community and to the event up to the particular time of day. Those retailers are going to thrive because customers are going to want to spend time in those stores. And that's going to be really critical so you can immerse the customer in your brand values, your brand persona. And that is then going to carry over to when they see your brand show up beside option A, option B, and option C on the list of choices that an agent produces. Gravitate to you because they've been in your store and they love you and they know you and they're comfortable and familiar with you, whereas the other guys, I haven't been in one of those stores in a while. That's going to become much more important.
Yeah, it seems like if you idealize this, does it clear the decks for perhaps less? And we were talking about this when e-commerce started to emerge. Less, but more interesting physical environments. Right now I'm in Columbus, Ohio. We have one Gap store. We have outlets like an hour north and an hour south that have probably 2 or 3 versions of a Gap factory. But like, remember when there was a Gap on every corner? That's it feels like it's those are the natural things that happen in these economies. It's kind of interesting to think about that those places will they become more like community centers or town squares. These are things that humans have needed since forever. The social interaction, and whatnot. I know people got used to being alone in the pandemic. I know that I still, every once in a while, if I'm in a crowded place, there's some anxiety there. But on the flip side of that, I'm also more comfortable having alone time, So, and I'm one of those extroverts that really thrives on the energy of an urban space or a concert or, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Down the road, if we're still sort of craving those environments, I mean, God knows I don't want to I don't need more than one Gap because they're not that interesting to go into. Their commercials are interesting, but again, they finally I hired a choreographer or whatever. It makes you think about stores like Dick's or Cabela's or Duluth Trading. They understand that atmospheric engagement. But I think you're right. The real estate is always going to be a part of the equation. And,
I keep going back to, there's a brand I love called Gentle Monster, and I've talked about it before, eyeglasses. They make the same revenue, maybe even slightly more than Warby Parker, but they do it with 34 stores instead of Warby Parker's 300. And they do it because those 34 stores are experiential paradises. They are playgrounds. They are incredible stores. People come from miles around and travel. It's entertainment beyond. And they come to these stores to have the Gentle Monster experience. Every store is unique. And those stores create a brand engagement like no other. And so you remember that. That is a memorable experience. It sticks in your mind. You fall in love with the brand. You want to be part of that experience. You feel so cool when you're in those stores. And you want you want that brand on your face. And so that drives sales. You don't need to go in another store for 2 years and you will still love the brand and buy those glasses.
Yeah, that sounds like a new operating system for physical retail, right? And if you think about the things we talk about, localization and personalization, I've not been in a Gentle Monster store, but I've seen and I've heard about it, probably not as much as you, but it sounds to me like they're probably not retailers. Like they, like
they're
Apple.
An online retailer with these
and that's
art
interesting.
stores,
I've heard that, and I'm like,
art installations.
And it sounds to me like they're working with really good, like, space designers, artists, sculptors, experiential people, right?
And
And
there's probably a little bit of drugs involved, some in there somewhere, judging by the stores.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I hope that's true.
Maybe some,
Because
yeah,
we need
hallucinogens
more,
in
yeah,
there.
we need more like psycho crazy stuff for people to, engage and fun. If you think about that as a new or just a different operating system, it could be applied to any product, any mix of products, right? And I'm sure that they're going to get to a point where they're so successful that other people are going to try to mimic them, and then we're going to get like really bad interpretations of that. But yeah, more power to them. Disruption is if there's no new normal, it's hard to even think about like disruption because that presumes a normal that's getting disrupted.
Well, and that's what AI is not good at, because no matter how well you train it, there are certain things it's never going to be able to do, and it's never going to be able to take a leap and surprise and delight you like a physical store was. It's never going to be able to go completely off the rails and show you something that you would never think of in a million years, that has absolutely nothing to do with your taste, but you see it and you think, oh my God, I never even thought of that. That is just
You know what
completely
though?
wild and crazy, but I love it and I have to have it. And the other
Though
thing,
I think it might have that capability down the road. If it's
maybe down the
really a
road, but right
learning
now it
model,
doesn't. Right now
right?
it
No, yeah,
doesn't.
absolutely
And
not.
still, if it told you about it, it wouldn't have nearly the same appeal as if you just discovered it yourself and
Right.
saw it. You have to
Yeah.
see, and that discovery is part of the process of loving it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is trying something on. You can wear something in a certain size, and you train it. You always wear a small, but in this size, the small, it just doesn't quite look right on you. The
Mm-hmm.
extra small or the medium would suit you just a little bit better. And it's probably not going to recommend that. It's not going to notice that. But the salesperson would have that little
Mm-hmm.
je ne sais quoi to zhuzh it up and know
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly what you need. And those things you can't beat the physical store for. And AI may one day be able to be good at that, but today
Mm-hmm.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's time for my favorite part. Retail be crazy.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, mine this week or this episode, is what Wendy's and Wednesday has done. And believe me, I've been talking about this for a few days now.
I love this. Oh my God. I love it.
The interesting thing here is how far they've taken this. And Wendy's has done a really good job online with their like persona in being a little like pointed and sometimes kind of sardonic, and it fits perfectly with this, right? And I even saw a reference to the other pigtailed outcast, referring to Wendy. McDonald's would not
Oh, it's so
do
awesome.
that. They would not like let anything even remotely negative be attached to their brand or their language or their, it's so, innocuous, if you will, but this stands out, and they took it to the nth degree. And
And for anyone who's just listening, it's a Wendy's standard sign, but instead of the usual Wendy's red and Wendy's logo, they have transformed it into the Wendy's Wednesdays, the Addams Family Wednesdays purple with instead of the redheaded Wednesday, Wendy's. It is
right,
the dark-haired Wednesday, looking very dour, and the sign says "Misfortune awaits lucky you."
lucky
Yeah,
you,
there you
yeah.
go.
And they have new flavors of dips for the French fries and chicken nuggets or whatever, and they're called dips of dread. Yeah, there's the drips of dread. And even in the drive-through experience with their new AI, they have basically been able to deliver this like brand messaging that for on behalf of Netflix and the Wednesday producers, like every time, right? So they have a pull up, you see this screen, and you hear, would you like the meal of misfortune? And I got the Frosty with Raven's blood, and it was really good. I love a
Okay.
Frosty, and you know, it's very engaging. It's so even at the local level. I'm in Columbus, and Wendy's is based here, and they do a lot of prototyping and stuff around town. I saw in other markets where they did a complete takeover of the drive-through, where you drove through this sort of tunnel with all these aspects from the show. It's pretty cool, and it got it's getting a lot of buzz online, and Wednesday, it's a really good show. It's really well put together and written.
Yeah, I love season 1. I'm looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, it's a really, really good tie-in. So I love this, and
it's crazy, but it's crazy good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Well, mine is equally unusual, but in a good way as well. It's funny that we both came up with good ones, not so crazy bad this time. Mine is the superhero store in Brooklyn, New York.
What?
It is a superhero store.
Papery.
It has a charming story. So this is an actual superhero store. They sell all kinds of things, what any superhero would need.
Grappling hooks. Oh my God. I love this.
Oh my gosh. They sell all kinds of product. You can buy any kind of costume. You can buy capery, although Edna would frown, no capes. No capes. You can buy the grappling hook. You can you can buy cans of immortality, invincibility.
Look, he sourced muscle.
They sell magnificence as well. You can buy a robot army. You can buy an invisibility suit.
What's
you
in those cans?
You can rent a sidekick.
Oh my God, I love this. So what's
and what's even better is it's a 9-store chain across the country, but it's part of something called an 826 Center, and it's an after-school tutoring program. And so these stores are real. They actually sell these products, but each one is branded differently. This one is a superhero store. Another one is a pirate supply store. If you're a pirate, you buy all your supplies there. Another one is a secret agent store. Okay. And all the proceeds from these products go to fund these after-school programs. And
oh my God, I want to go.
Yes, I know. And you can buy the products online. And
okay, you should definitely put the links to this.
One is a time traveler's convenience store where you can buy mammoth meat. You can get, they have a broken slushy machine, and the sign on it says, it's broken. You have to come back yesterday.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. You know what? I love it when non-retailers, I guess, use retail this way.
Yes.
This is because everybody is comfortable walking into a store.
Yeah.
And even if it's like a high-end luxury, the rules are customer gets to, walk in, right?
Yes.
And if you don't and you feel intimidated, then, it's a different story.
Yeah.
But when folks use retail this way, I love it. It's just so fun. And
next time you're in Brooklyn, any superhero supplies.
This is the stuff that makes me love retail.
Yes.
I love it. This is great.
Well, that's it for this week. And so we hope you'll come back next week.
Good chat.